I was in Costa Rica traveling, and I was jumping off this waterfall into a pool and then going down this little river kind of current down into a lower pool and going through a bunch of rocks. And the current pushed me into this boulder, and my knee, I was going pretty fast, and my knee stopped my momentum, like my kneecap. And it was extremely painful. And in that moment, and it's interesting because in the community we were somebody had was dealing with a broken kneecap just before that. So that consciousness of a broken kneecap had been kind of current in my thought, which I hadn't denounced completely. So here I was challenged with the idea that I perhaps had broken my kneecap. And I had a choice in that moment. What was I going to claim as my reality? Was I going to claim all the things that the material senses were trying to impose on me? Or was I going to claim my innocence based on the law of God, which says I am innocent, I am spiritual, I'm a spiritual idea, and I'm made in the image and likeness of God? Could I claim that as my identity? And so there's a really cool quote in the Bible that talks about the Lord has pleaded the causes of my soul. This is in Lamentations. Thou hast redeemed my life. The Lord has pleaded the causes of my soul. And if you look up the word plea, the second, not the please one, but the second one, it's a formal statement by or on behalf of a defendant or prisoner, right? If you're going to be a prisoner of mortal belief, you might be tempted to buy into that. It's a formal statement stating guilt or innocence in response to a charge, offering an allegation of fact, or claiming that a point of law should apply. So if the claim is a point of law, material sense, medical sense, should apply to us, and we claim guilt in that, we plead guilty, we're not going to plead guilty. Why would we plead guilty? Number one, the laws of matter do not apply. DNA do not apply, as opposed to spiritual DNA, which is my reality. They do not apply. So I can state a plea. I can enter a plea of innocence that I am innocent. Those laws of matter do not apply to me. I'm innocent based on the fact that I'm made in the image and likeness of God, and I do not fall prey to any of the suggestions of the material senses. There's a quote in the book Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures by the woman who discovered this law of good, this law of God, scientific Christianity. She says, stick to the truth of being in contradistinction to the error that life, substance, and intelligence could be in matter. And then she says, plead with an honest conviction of truth. Plead with an honest conviction of truth and a clear perception of the unerring and certain effect of divine science. And then we have our healing. But plead with an honest conviction of truth. Don't plead guilty to what the material senses are saying. Anyway, so long explanation of that little moment in time when my knee goes smashing into the rock and I make a choice. Am I pleading innocent or am I pleading guilty? And I don't honestly remember all the thoughts that came to me in that moment, but I do remember a very distinct moment when I made a choice to say no to the material senses and yes to my spiritual identity based in God as God's reflection. And I kind of slid into the next pool and kind of gathered myself, was able to climb out of the water. And then there were like a ridiculous number of stairs to climb up out of this canyon back to where our car was with all the people around. There were lots of tourists. It was kind of a tourist attraction, a lot of people around. So I really needed to kind of climb with the conviction of pleading with an honest conviction of truth. I couldn't be kind of wishy-washy on it in my thinking. I didn't want to there's another place where she talks about, letting go when the mechanism of the human mind gives place to the divine mind. That's the place where we are yielding to the Christ. We're yielding to the true idea of voicing good. So as I'm climbing those stairs and really needing to use my knee because it was a very steep hike up this ascent out of the canyon, I just kept claiming the truth. And that the pain left, like honestly, the pain left, and it was excruciating when I hit that rock. The pain left. I found that the functionality of my knee was becoming normalized, that the law of God, the operation of the law of God, was in effect because there was no belief holding my thought to a lie. My sense of myself was in alignment with the law of God, and the inevitable effect of that is health, flexibility, strength, movement, ability to, be functional. And I got up to by the time I got to the top of that canyon, the pain had left and the functionality had returned, and I was going along my way, and it actually had just kind of left my thought. And the rest of that day was fine. The next day, the suggestion came kind of rushing back in that this is a problem. And I did the same thing again. I just really put my foot down on that mortal suggestion and stated claimed my innocence, plead my innocence, made the plea for my innocence, pled with the honest conviction of truth, and that was the end of it. And there was no more suggestion of pain or suffering or inability to walk or any of the stuff. So it was a really quick healing of what seemed to be a very big problem. And of course, we know in the law of God, there's no problem, big or small. It's just all the erroneous suggestion of the material senses that we don't have to buy into. So it was a really cool experience. It was a good demonstration. And that's the thing that's very encouraging about this science, this scientific Christianity, is that we get to practice it and we get to be in the place of demonstration, not just, oh, these are good ideas. Let me think these good thoughts. It's not about good thinking over bad thinking. It's about letting the law of God operate in our life and yielding to the Christ. So that true idea, voicing good, not holding on to something that is voicing bad. So, which makes it's kind of obvious when we say it that way. It's like, why would I hold on to anything bad? I'm not holding on. I don't have the possibility. God's not holding on to anything bad. I'm not holding on to anything bad because I'm the reflection of God. So it makes it pretty simple. Anyway, lots of love. See you next time. If you haven't tried the Morning Metaphys thing, go to getfreesupport.com. Just sign up for the free trial. All right.